I have some time on my hands lately, and I'm using it to scratch off some projects on the to-do list. And one is a shelf under this cabinet here. It's going to be a very simple shelf, and it's going to mount to the underside of the cabinet here. And I took some measurements, and I decided on about 7 inches down. And it says approximately 29 inches. That'll be an exact fit, which I will sneak up on. And I'm making this out of just a common board I bought at the home center. It's pine, and it is 18 bucks. It's nothing special. And I only need a portion of it. And that's going to be the first step. At the table saw, I'm going to rip off the portion I need, which is on the right. And then I'm going to take my table saw blade, put it at 45 degrees. And I'm going to bust out my table saw sled to cut the miters. I have a video on this sled, and one of the features is you can cut 45-degree miters very cleanly and precisely on the edge here. So I attach a stop block to my fence. I also have a video about that simple stop block, which I use a lot. And I set it to the measurement that I want. Then I put one edge of the board against the stop block, run it through the saw, and I have one of my vertical pieces. Very important you wait for the blade to spin down before you move this thing. Anyway, I flip the board end for end and make another cut, and I have my vertical pieces. I can do it that way because I'm not worried about grain direction. If you are, you would have to find another method, but I'm not, so I didn't. Here, I'm measuring the exact length, and I'm really sneaking up on the fit here. I didn't show the multiple tries, but I will show you how clean of a cut this method produces, much better than what you get at a chop saw, in my opinion. Anyway, once that's done, I mark which faces are going to face the front, and I put a small 45-degree chamfer on each of those faces just so there's no sharp edge when I'm putting things in, pulling things out. And to glue this up, I'm just going to use blue painter's tape. I've used other methods to glue up miters in the past, and I've always come back to the blue painter's tape. This is one that I used to use, these miter clips. They leave a hole in the wood, and so I stopped going back to those, and I realized tape is really all you need. So I spread it with my finger here. I do have a brush, but I just could not seem to find it, so used my finger. Once that was all done, I did bust out these 90-degree squares. This is not necessary, but I had them and figured I might as well use them. I attach the squares to the vertical pieces, and that will ensure that everything is at a perfect 90. And once those are all attached, then I will seal up the sides with the blue tape. I will never pass up an opportunity to show the simple trick with a straw. Cut a 45-degree angle on a straw, and that is what you will use to get your glue squeeze out. I love this trick. Anyway, time to cut some splines, and this is a new-ish method I'm using. I have a 45-degree block that I use on my bandsaw that I'm using to reference for the splines here. So you make a cut, flip the thing end for end, and make another cut. Then I capture the distance from the blade of the stop block that I had, and then I move the stop block to the other side, that same distance, very carefully, lock the stop block down, and then repeat the process. And doing it that way, you'll get perfectly spaced miters on both sides, and they look relatively clean. I'm also going to just play around with this dowel key jig from Rockler, which I will make a video of, and I'm going to drill some 1/8-inch holes for some copper bar that I'm going to thread through there. So I'm cutting the wood for the splines. This is a piece of hardwood Brazilian cherry. This was old flooring. One trick I use for splines, I label the spline and the slot because I move the splines around until I get the fit I want, and then I assign that piece to the slot. So A will always fit perfectly in A, B, and B, and so forth. I'm using a toothpick to spread some epoxy into the hole for the bar and then just hammer home the copper rod. Anyway, I cut that down, sanded it, and put some finish on it. And now attaching it, I didn't capture this video, but I pressed this against the underside and drilled through the cabinet and through the shelf. And then for screws, for a fastener, I decided to use these sort of clipped type of things. So you take a screw, you put it in the recess, and you attach the white clip. This is what it looks like all together, just so the screw's not exposed on the outside. And it was just long enough for this particular project. So I put a washer and a nut on, and that was pretty much it. So this is how it looks all finished. You can see the screws don't stick out like a sore thumb. They kind of blend into the cabinet. I like the sort of continuity here. We go white and wood on the bottom cabinet, and then white and wood on the top cabinet. And the splines, not necessary. Reinforcing the miters, completely not needed. But I did it just because to get some practice and also to kind of make it a little more visually appealing. And that's pretty much it. It'll hold whatever I need to store there. Very simple.